Good morning, everyone. My name's Liz Lumsden. I'm the Community Safety Manager for ROSPA in Scotland. That's the Royal Society for the Prevention of Accidents. A very warm welcome to everybody to our 11th safety webinar related to safety, particularly in the home. These unusual times continue for us all, and we at ROSPA are trying to continue to raise awareness and information, share information on important items by covering a number of topics in this webinar series. So previous topics have included falls, burns and scalds, water safety, child safety, electrical safety and inequalities and accidents. If you would like to see any additional topics covered, please do contact us at communitysafety@rospa.com, and I'll remind you of that at the end of this event. So this webinar today is going to focus on the signs of carbon monoxide poisoning and the steps you can take to ensure that you keep yourself and your family safe. Before we hear from, we've got two speakers, so before we hear from Scotland's Gas Networks, we're going to hear a heartbreaking account from the father of a young woman who tragically lost her life due to carbon monoxide poisoning. Just before we get started though, you'll see that there is a question and answer facility on your screen. You're welcome to use this to put any questions to our speakers, and at the end we'll try to answer some of them if we have enough time. We've got about 40 minutes today. So any that we're unable to answer today will be tweeted from our @ROSPA Scotland account over the coming days, and none of the other attendees can see what questions you're asking, and no one can see who's attending this webinar. So feel free to ask any questions. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over now to so we can hear from Gordon Samuel. So thanks for agreeing to share your story. I appreciate how difficult this must be. So over to you, Gordon.
Good morning. As Liz says, my name is Gordon Samuel, and I'm a trustee of the Katie Haynes Memorial Trust, together with my wife, Errol. And I would like to thank ROSPA for inviting me to talk today about my daughter, Katie. 10 years ago, Katie was killed by carbon monoxide poisoning. But before I tell you about that terrible day, I would like to tell you more about Katie. Katie was our eldest daughter, and on the 12th of December 2009, we attended her fairy tale Cotswolds wedding to Richard Haynes in St Mary's Church in Fairford here in Gloucestershire. It was a cold, wintry day, but I'd never seen her looking so beautiful or so happy. The sun shone as she walked through the door of the church. Katie loved Christmas, and she and Richard wanted to spend their first Christmas with their families before taking off on the trip to America for the honeymoon, where they to dance the tango, visiting together for life as a married couple. And Katie returned to her job as a press officer at Oxford University. On the 31st January 2010, we joined Katie with Richard's family to celebrate Katie's 31st birthday. It was such a lovely evening, but we didn't know when we said our goodbyes that that would be the last time we would see our precious daughter. Before I go any further, let me tell you a bit about Katie. She had the most beautiful smile ever, and we're grateful that we have so many photographs of her smiling. You will see them from this collage. She loved school, and her favorite subject was English. But she also threw herself into everything school offered, and was a member of the school tennis and netball teams, and took part in the Duke of Edinburgh Award. She also belonged to Cheam Ladies Swimming Club, and actively participated in brownies and guides, especially enjoying going off to camp. Outside of school, she was a very hard worker. In fact, she did a paper round, sometimes 2 a day until she was 18 and went off to university. She was determined the only university she wanted to attend was Manchester, because she knew that there was a very vibrant university newspaper, and her dream, since a little girl, was to become a journalist. I'm not ashamed to say that I cried when I left her for the first time in Manchester, where she studied French, English and French. Very soon she joined the university netball team and was a news and features editor on the student newspaper Student Direct. Every holiday she worked either on the local newspaper, several national newspapers such as the Times and the Evening Standard, and even Farmers Weekly, or as a receptionist at a sports club. Even while in France on her university year abroad, teaching, she wrote a piece for the Times educational supplement about her experience. She also managed corporate hospitality tent at Wimbledon during 2 championships. Although she loved playing and watching sport, particularly Arsenal, she didn't excel in running, but following the tragic death of 2 of her close friends, she ran 2 London marathons, raising a great deal of money for causes related to their deaths. Later, when living in Wokingham in Surrey, she joined the Wokingham ladies netball team, and we now sponsor a trophy at the club in her name. After completing a journalism course, Katie followed her dream and became a full-time journalist, working on many newspapers, starting off on the Watford Observer and the Ham and High, and then going on to work on most of the major nationals, including the Mirror, the Express, the Sunday Times. Later, she worked on celebrity magazines, including Closer. Being a journalist meant that Katie often worked evenings and weekends, and after meeting Richard, she decided for a change of career and became a press officer at Oxford University. She loved her new job, and one of the last things she did was to help organize the reopening of the Ashmolean Museum by the Queen in December 2009. Katie's name is now on the Bridge of Names at the Ashmolean. Sadly, I need to tell you what happened. On the 18th of February 2010, Avril and I were on our way to our home here in the Cotswolds. As we were going to Cornwall the next morning for a gallery opening, we'd nearly reached junction 15 of the M4 when we got a call from Richard's mother to say that Katie had been involved in an accident at home, and we needed to get to the Royal Berkshire Hospital as soon as possible. It was a wintry day, and we got lost on the Reading one-way system. We didn't hear from family or friends on the way to the hospital, and Avril just knew that the news wouldn't be good on arrival. After what seemed like a really long wait in the hospital reception, we were shown into a small room, and a young doctor arrived and told us that Katie had died of carbon monoxide poisoning. From that moment, our world was never the same again. We drove to our house here, where we spent several weeks. It was the next day that we learned exactly what had happened. Katie and Richard normally went to the gym, but that evening Katie was feeling tired and suggested that they have a quiet evening in, and asked Richard if he could get something from Waitrose on his way home from work, and she'd run the bath. When he arrived home, he immediately saw Charlie, their cat, unconscious on the floor. Richard called out to Katie, and when she didn't reply, he found her slumped in the bath and was unable to resuscitate her. Later we learned that, feeling drowsy, she'd probably stood up from the bath, where carbon monoxide from their faulty boiler hit her, and she fell back into the water, banging her head on the side of the bath as she did so. Katie had 37% carbon monoxide poisoning, a fatal dose. Richard and his father were taken to hospital with 20% and 15% poisoning, respectively. Fortunately, both recovered. I'm not sure how we survived the next few days. We had our daughter Lydia with us on that night, and the next day her twin Adam arrived back from Spain, where he'd been living for a few years. But we'd lost an integral part of our family. The twins had lost their big sister. Who they looked up to for advice. And we'd lost our firstborn. Sorry. She used to ring us at least once a day or more. Because of the tragic circumstances of Katie's death, it was a few weeks before we could hold her funeral. I was in shock, but I felt I had to do something. Katie was a journalist, and I know if something tragic had happened to us, we would have used her journalistic skills to do something to raise awareness of whatever had caused our death. I think of myself as fairly well educated, but why I didn't know more about carbon monoxide poisoning, the dangers of the silent killer, I don't know. When we had our boiler service many years ago, I think about 2004, when we had moved home, the engineer offered me a carbon monoxide alarm for £38. It seemed rather a lot at the time, but I thought I'd better get one, although he didn't actually advise me about the dangers of carbon monoxide poisoning. I never thought to ask my children if they had an alarm. In fact, Katie and Richard had bought a smoke alarm that came with a free carbon monoxide alarm. They put up the smoke alarm, but they didn't pull the tab on the carbon monoxide alarm to activate it. I'd heard of CO, but I thought it was something that mainly occurred abroad, and I didn't know the symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning. Katie had mentioned to me that she must have inherited her mother's migraine, and also said that she and Richard had stomach aches, but we put it all down to excitement of the wedding. The symptoms are very similar to flu, but if you leave the environment where you're feeling unwell, but you feel better outside, it could be something more sinister. I decided we had to learn more about the poison that had killed our daughter and try to prevent it from killing or maiming others. And for this purpose, we set up the Katie Haynes Memorial Trust, in fact, probably within 2 weeks of her death. It is Carbon Monoxide Awareness Week this week, and following Katie's death, our first opportunity to understand more about carbon monoxide and meet other concerned stakeholders was the inaugural launch of Carbon Monoxide Awareness Week at the House of Commons in November 2010. At that event, there were representatives from the fire service, paramedics, MPs, and other people who had lost loved ones from carbon monoxide or had themselves suffered from CO. But I didn't see anyone from the press. Why wasn't this event getting any attention? I remembered as a young adult watching public information films on TV, and also remembered the success of drink driving ads at Christmas time. What could we do as a trust? Other CO awareness charities were doing an excellent job in research and logging on CO statistics, but through my various contacts, I knew that we could make films, short videos, which could be circulated through social media and hopefully reach a wider audience. Please look at the Katie Haynes Memorial Trust YouTube channel and our webpage, and you will see all the films we have made to date to raise awareness of this silent killer. Our first film, sounding the alarm about the dangers of carbon monoxide, was made on a comparatively low budget through the kindness of old friends in the film business. It shows how parents can go to all lengths to protect and keep the family safe, but are unaware of an important thing like an audible carbon monoxide alarm. Most of our films have been shown at the Houses of Parliament to MPs and other stakeholders. As well as making these films over the past 10 years since Katie died, we have donated thousands of CO alarms to charities and the fire service to give them to vulnerable clients. We're so grateful to our friends, supporters, and other stakeholders who have helped us, a small family charity, in so many ways, by donating money, taking part in sponsored events like our son Adam, helping us to make films, improving our website, and offering us advice and technical expertise. Also, for those companies who have given us for free or at cost price audible carbon monoxide alarms that we can pass on to those most in need. A very important point we continually mention is to have all carbon burning appliances regularly maintained and serviced by a registered engineer, and chimneys swept by a registered sweep. In addition, please make sure that you and your loved ones install one or more audible carbon monoxide alarms. Remember to test your smoke and carbon monoxide alarms regularly. Test it Tuesday. You need to know that they will work in an emergency, and check when they expire. Most alarms now will last 7 to 10 years. If you travel away from home to a friend's place, a hotel, a B&B, a caravan, or if you go camping or have a boat, take a carbon monoxide alarm with you. It could save your life. Our carbon monoxide alarm has traveled all over the world with us. And if you know someone that doesn't have a carbon monoxide alarm, please give them one for Christmas. My family will never recover from the loss of our daughter. You don't expect to be burying your child. But Katie's death has impacted everyone who knew and loved her. This next video is Hannah, Katie's bridesmaid and her best friend from school, talking about Katie. So, can we have the first video, please, Carleen?
Yeah, just 2 seconds. It's gone off.
The next video that you're going to see, we were very, very reluctant to actually show. It's incredibly personal. We have tons of videos that we've had since the children were born. And Rob Lyon, friend of ours, put this together for us. And we just called it Memories of Katie. Anyway, Carleen, if you could play it. Thank you.
She may be the face I can't forget, the trace of pleasure or regret, maybe my treasure or the price I have to pay. She may be the song that summer sings, maybe the children autumn brings, maybe 100 different things within the measure of a day. She may be the beauty or the breeze, maybe the famine or the beast, may turn each day into a
We're having a technical issue.
Yeah, it seems to have stuck. I'll try again from here.
Gordon, could you mute yourself while the video is playing as well, just so that we don't hear the feedback? That'd be great, thank you. Gordon, I'm really sorry, but we can't get the video to work. It's just stalled. It just won't play anymore.
Not to go to YouTube and get it from there.
I don't know if Carleen can do that. Carleen?
Not on the system, no. What we can do is we can share the link afterwards, but we won't be able to show it at the moment.
I'm really sorry.
You can't move it on just a fraction at the bottom, just to the next bit.
I've tried it. It seems to be completely stuck.
Gosh, okay.
I've uploaded it again, but it's not working, I'm afraid.
Okay,
I'll try.
Perhaps give everybody the link.
Sorry?
Perhaps give everybody the link to it.
Yeah, we will do. I'll just try one more time using different source, but we'll see if it will work. No, I'm sorry, it's not going to work. They're just frozen on both of them.
What a shame.
I'm really sorry about that, Gordon. It's just the technology's just completely let us down on this occasion.
Well, it is what it is, but maybe at the end you can put the link up and anybody who wants to see it can see it on YouTube. It's called Memories of Katie. And it's the Katie Haynes Memorial Trust on YouTube. Or our website, which was katiehaynestrust.com. Okay, I'll let Graham speak.
Okay, thanks very much, Gordon, and I can't thank you enough for sharing your experience and for all the work that you're doing to raise awareness. Thanks for telling us your story and telling us all about Katie. She was an amazing young woman. It's just heartbreaking. Okay, we'll move on now to Grant Taylor from Scotland's Gas Networks, SGN. And yes, thanks, Grant. I'll hand over to you now.
Yeah, thanks very much, Liz, for that. And I just want to echo your thoughts as well in regards to Gordon. A very incredible account of his daughter that sadly passed away. And it just shows everyone the dangers of carbon monoxide and the impact it can make in people's lives. So again, thanks very much, Gordon. Carleen, are you okay navigating the slides, yeah?
Yeah, no problem.
Excellent, okay. Well, hello everyone, my name is Grant Taylor. I'm the Area Safety, Health and Environment Manager for SGN here in Scotland. And what I want to give you is an account from a gas network perspective of what we are doing to try and raise awareness of carbon monoxide. So there's a few slides here, so please bear with me. Some of the messages that you'll see in these slides, Gordon's already discussed, but again, it's good to reaffirm the symptoms and dangers of carbon monoxide and what we can do to prevent it. So Carleen, if you don't mind. Yep, just the next slide will be fine. So basically, a kind of rundown of who SGN are. You might see SGN out in the streets, replacing gas mains that can cause a wee bit of bother for people, getting from place to place. But we are responsible for the gas network, as you can see on the screen there, in the kind of orange shading. So basically for the whole of Scotland, the southern part of England, and a bit of Northern Ireland as well, which we've recently taken over. So basically we distribute natural gas and green gas to around 5.9 million customers in the UK and businesses. And we have a network of just over 74,000 kilometres of pipe in the ground. Part of that responsibility is that we maintain the gas emergency service, and we obviously attend a number of calls each year, some of which are related to CO, and a bit more detail on the next slide to show you. So basically, from a Scotland perspective, we actually attended just shy of 180,000 emergency calls last year. And roughly about 11% of them, about 19,000 calls, were related to CO or fumes type incidents. So whether that's someone calling us up because they think they might be suffering the effects of carbon monoxide, those that maybe have been poisoned with carbon monoxide, or potentially where a CO alarm has activated or sounded, we will attend their calls as the gas emergency service. Next one, please, Caroline. So this week, and again, Gordon pointed out that we are supporting the CO Awareness Week. This is obviously an annual event, and it's organisations from across the UK working together to raise awareness on the dangers of carbon monoxide. And very, very importantly this year, especially, most of us are at home and we're coming into the winter period as well. And obviously, gas appliances will be getting used a lot more over this period. And the added fact that more of us are at home working increases the risk. So this is why it's so important to make sure we're raising awareness. Right, Caroline, thanks. So the key messages we're going to promote over the week, and that's via our social media channels, via our engineers who go to properties and speak to our customers, is the following. So we want to be preventative, so please get your gas appliances checked regularly as a requirement. Please invest in a CO alarm. CO alarms are relatively inexpensive. You can actually pick up a CO alarm for just over £10 at the moment. Know where your CO alarm should be kept, where it should be installed. Again, always follow manufacturer's instructions of where to put the CO alarm. And make sure that, as I say, once it's there, make sure we test it as well. It's important to test it. And I did like what Gordon said there about a test it Tuesday. Very, very important that you test to make sure your CO alarm is operating. Educating young people as well to bring key safety messages back home. Promoting gas safety advice and to make sure that people are using competent engineers to carry out their gas activities from the Gas Safe Register website. And there is a helpline number there as well for anyone that needs more support on CO or support with gas. Thanks, Caroline. So again, Gordon kind of pointed out earlier on the kind of symptoms and dangers of carbon monoxide, but just want to reaffirm this again. We just move on, Caroline. So carbon monoxide is obviously a poisonous gas, and it is produced by incomplete burning of fossil fuels. So that could be distributed natural gas, it could be LPG gas, it could be oil, it could be wood, it could be petrol and coal. A lot of the quite fashionable at the present time now is for people to get log burning stoves in their properties. And again, these can emit carbon monoxide as well if they're not installed, maintained and checked regularly. And it's very, very important, obviously, to make sure that there's plenty of ventilation for any fossil fuel burning appliance to operate as well. Other risk areas that can produce carbon monoxide are basically camping sites, boats, barbecues, portable heaters, holiday accommodation, garages. Again, Gordon did point out about taking carbon monoxide alarms with you when you're going to a caravan or going to a holiday home, and that is a great tool and a great thought to have as well. So please take that on. Thanks, Kirby. So again, the effects of carbon monoxide poisoning. Carbon monoxide is like a mimic. It mimics other types of potential conditions that people have. generally like flu-like symptoms that you can feel. Low levels of carbon dioxide, you may suffer headaches, you may feel a bit sick. Then at high levels gets into dizziness, potentially breathlessness, and at extreme levels there may be collapse and ultimately loss of consciousness as well. So again, it's something that we need to make sure we promote and everyone understands that these are the effects of carbon dioxide poisoning. And it's basically carbon monoxide, when it is produced, removes oxygen from the blood, and that's why you get these symptoms that you're seeing on the screen here, because there's not enough oxygen flowing in the blood to parts of the body. Thanks, Caroline. We're all probably aware carbon monoxide is classed as a silent killer. You can't see it, you can't smell it, you can't hear it or taste it. And if you are worried about carbon monoxide and there's a potential consideration there, make sure you ventilate your property, open all doors and windows, move everyone to fresh air, and call the Gas Emergency Service, which is ourselves in Scotland, and we will attend and give you some safety advice and make safe anything that needs to be made safe as well. That's correct. Unfortunately, as we've just heard, Gordon's story is it does cause deaths in the UK, and between 1995 and August 2019, we recorded 712 deaths over that period. So it just shows you the impact it can have. Next slide, please. Some data. I don't know if you can see that screen very well, but basically on the left-hand side, it details the time of year when most deaths occur regarding carbon monoxide, and as you wouldn't be probably surprised to see, it's over the winter period. And again, as I was pointing out before, the winter period, people have got their gas appliances on, their solid fuel burning appliances on, or their oil fuel burning appliances on to keep them safe and warm. Age profile, again on the right-hand side graph, details that generally the largest piece of the population that unfortunately dies for carbon monoxide poisoning is the 71 to 80-year-old bracket. Again, these stats have came from government websites where this information is contained. Carry on, please, Carly. So how can CO incidents happen? So the prime causes of CO incidents for gas appliances is lack of or poor maintenance, poor chimney flue installations, and there potentially could be a blockage in that flue or chimney. You might find it's been poor installation of the flue, or in some certain cases, really adverse weather conditions as well. Lack of ventilation with the appliance. Every fossil fuel burning appliance needs ventilation to burn effectively and safely. And the competence of the person installing the installation or carrying out the service of the appliance as well. It's important, as I say, that we get a gas safe registered person to carry out any sort of installation and maintenance and repair of gas appliances in your home. If you do have oil or solid fuel burning appliances, Offtake and HETAS are the bodies for that you can go to seek the appropriate competence of a person to install a solid fuel or a oil burning appliance. So some visual signs that you might find or come across in gas appliances that could be suggesting there could be fumes and CO getting produced is we always talk about a yellow floppy flame. When gas is burning correctly, it should be a blue crisp flame. But when you're seeing yellow floppy flames, it generally means that there could be a problem with the flue, a blockage in the chimney, maybe the burners in the actual gas boiler or cooker or fire may be blocked as well. So there's incomplete combustion taking place which again can lead to carbon monoxide. Other signs that you might see as well is blackening or sooting around the actual casings of gas appliances. You can actually see in the first picture on the left where there's a gas boiler and there's signs of sooting from the kind of eyeglass at the front. And obviously in the middle picture you can see gas fires and the actual sooting around about the casing. You may also find excess condensation in the room when a gas appliance is in operation if there's incomplete combustion taking place. It is a factor that we see now and again when we do attend CO or fumes reported jobs, that there is, as I say, excess condensation on the windows, the doors, when we actually arrive at the property, and that gives us a visual indicator that there could be CO getting produced. Poor condition of appliances as well, and some type of appliances and type of flue systems, again, making sure we try and keep them out of sleeping accommodation. Next one, Carly. So how can we prevent it? So generally, we class as 6 steps to CO safety. So again, as we were saying earlier on, check the flame, make sure it's blue and crisp, and if there's signs it's yellow and floppy, it could be that there is a problem with the flue, the chimney, or the burner. So again, when you were seeing that, is get the appliance off and get it checked, tested by a gas safe engineer. Check ventilation. A lot of gas appliances have purpose-built vents that may be installed in cupboards or doors or in your wall. So making sure any of these vents are not getting blocked, and ultimately allowing the gas appliance or the fossil fuel burning appliance to burn correctly with the correct ventilation. As we're saying, check appliances. It is a requirement, obviously, for gas appliances to be checked periodically. The manufacturer's guidance for any gas appliance that you have as well will detail that. So please get that done. Invest in a CO alarm. Relatively inexpensive, and it could save your life. And as I say, that's what we want to promote as much as possible. Check for symptoms. If there are symptoms, if you do feel that you or your family member or friend has the symptoms, again, it's worth getting checked out and maybe seeing your local GP as well, and they can actually do a test for you. And check your rights and responsibilities. If you're a tenant, it's up to the landlord to, by law, to make sure gas appliances are serviced and checked on an annual basis. So again, we talked about the carbon monoxide alarm. Audible carbon monoxide alarms are in compliance with a standard, and all alarms that you do, all alarms that you purchase from, whether it be a supermarket or a DIY store or a builder's merchants, must comply with EN 50291, which basically means they're audible and there is a visual indicator as well on it. Installation maintenance of the CO alarm. Again, please always follow manufacturer's instructions for installation requirements. A couple of wee pointers is just make sure we keep the alarm free of dust. Test it regularly. Again, I refer back to what Gordon was saying about test it Tuesday. Very, very important that test it. There's a button on the front of every CO alarm which details where to test and how to test it. Basically pressing a button and it alarms to tell you it's still operating correctly. Don't use cleaning solutions on your alarm because they can emit fumes. Do not paint the alarm, obviously. Don't spray aerosols. Again, that could emit fumes and cause problems for future operation. And again, don't use any solvents near the alarm as well, because again, they can cause problems for the sensors and future operation of the alarm itself. Look after your CO alarm, and it'll look after you and your family, absolutely. So just to close off, what SGN are doing and have been doing over the past number of years, driving CO awareness. So certainly this year, as I was saying before right at the start of my piece, it's very, very important that we keep everyone safe and warm. That's SGN's tagline. They want to keep everyone safe and warm. And certainly this time of year, moving at winter period, gas appliances are getting used, and obviously more people are at home as well with their appliances on. So again, it's getting this message out there. It's important to get the appliances checked regularly, so please invest in a CL alarm as well and make sure we test it. And again, for any gas safety advice and to find and check an engineer, you can visit the Gas Safe Register website, or alternatively the helpline there, and you can always go onto the sgn.co.uk website that's got a lot of information regarding gas safety and pertinent to this CO safety as well. Next one. So basically, we want to drive CO awareness as a business. We have got a moral responsibility as well as a legislative responsibility as part of our licence to operate, to make sure we raise the profile of gas emergencies, and certainly CO is fundamental to that. So we want to reduce the number of CO incidents that happen in our communities. We want to work collaboratively, so whether it's ROSPA, whether it's other organisations, to deliver a CO-based strategy. So that we have been focused on 3 key areas, which is grassroots awareness, partnership working, and driving change. So next slide, please, Caroline. So grassroots awareness, what we've been doing in the past, and certainly moving forward as well, is targeting specific demographics. So whether it be looking at young children, to take the messages home to their parents, to their friends, to their families. You can see in the picture there, we created a cartoon strip basically for children, and it gives them a good indicator of what CO is and how to recognise the symptoms and what to do in an emergency. We've also created one for camping as well. So it relates to solid fuel appliances, whether it be using barbecues inside tents, etc. So as well as doing one for the internal gas side of things, we're doing one for the external potential CO production as well. We've also been working with the students. We do recognise that students in landlorded accommodation presents a risk, and we've done a lot in the past with them, speaking to them, raising awareness with that group, and also looking at the other demographic is older people. So spending a bit of time with them, supporting the Royal Voluntary Service, carrying out tea time chats and lunchtime chats with members of the RVS as well. We also have been involved in supporting a national CO children's competition, and the next slide I think shows you that. And as you can see, this is the photos there. This is a national competition which is run annually. And again, it's to raise the profile of CO awareness, but it's getting kids involved. And basically, you can see the winner from Scotland, Sophie Smith of Glasgow, created this poster on the left-hand side, which is, as you hopefully agree, is a great kind of demonstration of understanding of CO, especially, and how she feels it should be getting promoted as well. So a fantastic achievement. And we do that, as I say, every year, and every region in the UK goes, every regional winner from the UK goes to a national competition as well, which we obviously fully support. And it supports the school, and it also supports the children as well. Carry on, please, Caroline. Partnership working, again, we are doing a lot of work with external stakeholders and external charity groups regarding CO, working a lot with ROSPA, working with other gas networks as well, to try and have a focus and a collaborative effort. So we have done a bit in the past training frontline care workers on the CO awareness. We've done a bit in recent times with Solutions for the Planet and regarding groups of kids from schools, secondary school kids, teaching them about CO and getting them to tell us how they think the message can be better than produced, to reflect and to get the message across to that kind of age group as well. And speaking to power companies as well, relating to power cuts. So if there is an electrical power cut, people will use their gas, obviously, as well. And it's what to do in relation to power cuts and gas safety. So yeah, a lot of work in partnership as well. Next slide, please. And driving change. We have been involved and continue to be involved in national groups, and also we have been supporting parliamentary groups as well. Certainly the Scottish safety group, all parliamentary cross-party safety group based at the Scottish Parliament. SGN have been members of that now for a number of years, and we've done presentations to different sectors within that, supporting the Gas Safety Trust, supporting the Gas Safe Register, and also we've delivered similar type events down at Westminster. We've done a bit of work with the NHS and CO screening research. We were the first gas distribution network to introduce personal atmosphere monitors, and that's the picture you see in the top right hand corner, and that's basically a device that our frontline workers, our engineers will use going into a property, and it reacts to CO. So if there is CO in that property, it will alarm. And again, looking at how we can offer training as a gas network to different sectors as well. So there's a lot going on in that space at the present time. Next slide, please. So this year's initiatives moving forward, we've got a winter readiness information campaign. Also be supporting RVS Trust again. We're actually working with Mumsnet and Grandsnet, which is a company, a body who promote safety and information to mums and females in regards to carbon monoxide safety. We've also got the bounty packs that new mums receive. There's information on there regarding CO that we've produced. We're looking at audio CO alarms and working with a couple of companies to actually promote what it sounds like for a CO alarm to activate, and what it sounds like if it's on low level or high level, and the different variations of that. Promoting some billboard messaging across the UK as well in relation to CO awareness. And we've actually just started a youth panel project on how to improve CO awareness in teens and young adults, so we're getting a group together with that. Again, that's probably a demographic that probably needs to be given more information and to see what triggers them to consider CO as well. Next one, please, Caroline. And that's it. So, sorry, apologies, folks, there's a lot of slides there, but it's so important that we get this message across, and SGN are fundamental to that, to promoting and supporting our communities and supporting other stakeholders involved in this project. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Grant. That was a really comprehensive presentation on what SGN does and is going to do, and importantly what causes the carbon monoxide issues that we've heard about, and what the signs are, and how to prevent carbon monoxide poisoning, how to keep your family safe. So we've kind of run out of time. There was a couple of questions, but there was one about testing smoke alarms, but I think you've covered that, Grant, and how to test. Follow your manufacturer's instructions that come with the alarm, and basically it's a case of pressing the button to test that it's working. But we've had another question about the forthcoming regulations, Grant, in Scotland, where the alarms should be connected. How does that apply to carbon monoxide? About the fire alarms all being connected?
Yeah, well, I was having a look at the government website in preparation for this, and it looks like that certainly smoke and fire alarms have to be interconnected, but I don't think there's and again, probably need to clarify this, so I'll get back to you and can maybe share it with the members, Liz. But when I looked at it yesterday, I didn't see that the CO alarms had to be interconnected. Certainly the smoke alarms and the heat alarms had to be, but not necessarily the CO alarms. But there is a push, obviously, for the Scottish Government to get the every home with these detection alarms. But the interconnection part of it, from a CO perspective, I don't think is a requirement, but there is a requirement for them to be fitted. But what we can do is I can probably clarify that with you. You can share it with the group. Yeah,
okay, we'll get that clarified. Thanks, Grant.
Yeah.
Sorry to move on, but we'll really need to finish up now. I'd like to thank both the speakers again very, very much. And this whole event has been recorded, and it will be put on our website in the next couple of days. So if you go to the ROSPA website and look for the ROSPA Scotland webinars, you'll see all the recordings of our earlier webinars, and this one will be added to that. And again, apologies, Gordon, that we couldn't share the complete video that should have been shared, but we'll make sure that we get the link on that page as well so that people can have a look at that. Yeah, so that just remains for me to thank you both and thank everybody for attending. And if you've got future issues that you'd like us to cover, then do get in touch with us. And the link that's on your page just now is on your screen just now takes you to our carbon monoxide safety advice. And please do have a look at that. And you can reach us at communitysafety@rospa.com if you've got any questions at all, if you think of anything further you'd like to put to either of the speakers. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.